Council also heard concerns from a number of people about coal pollution in the Sioux City area. Many of them brought up the coal-fired power plants operated by Mid-American Energy at Port Neal, south of Sioux City. Some shared statistics about the higher rates of asthma, COPD, and heart disease in the Siouxland area. Others brought up studies that they've found which claim the plants leak toxins like arsenic, lithium, and boron into nearby groundwater. They brought this to the council's attention in hopes of getting the city council's help.
I am proud to call myself a Sioux Cityan and an Iowan, and I am increasingly fearful for my daughter's health and safety here because of legislators' refusal to acknowledge the detrimental effects of fossil fuels and agricultural runoff. I am also proud to live in a city where my concerns can be heard and heeded. I trust you as council members to do what is right to protect your constituents' health.
Now, members of the city council voiced their understanding, but they're not sure just how they can help.
I kind of generally understand their concerns. I just don't know what we can do about it, but we'll look into it. And if there is a way to get more monitoring for the safety of our citizens, we'll certainly ask for that from the DNR.
Now, council members also urged those who spoke up tonight to reach out to the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors about their concerns.